This week on Hairball Unscripted, this is episode number 2, and we are joined by Patrick and Dave. We talk all things hairball as always, and we answer a bunch of your questions. Don't miss this episode. Hello and welcome to episode number 2 of Hairball Unscripted. I'm your host, Tommy Summers, and today I am joined by Dave Moody and the newest member, Patrick Allen Stone. Welcome, guys.
Hey, what's up, Tommy?
So I want to start with Patrick because you're new to the band and a lot of fans have not seen you perform yet. So give us a little history. Before we go into the hairball piece, Patrick, tell people about your journey.
I was born in Northern California. I made I went to LA probably, I was 17 years old to, fulfill my dreams of rock stardom. And I got into bands almost immediately, immediately. I went on to work with Wes Starkeen, who was the 6th member of Guns N' Roses. I went on to roadie for Lemmy from Motorhead. I worked with Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses. I was his singer for a while. Pretty much a really unbelievable story. If I were to give you the whole thing, it's one of those, my life story is kind of the one you just can't make it up. It seems totally unbelievable and surreal. And half the time I tell my story, people don't believe it, and that's their problem because it's actually just, it's wild. But my original band, Butterside, luckily got signed by Lemmy, 2015, and I've been doing that wholeheartedly since. And I joined Sweet, the legendary Sweet, and I've been touring with them since 2019. And finally, luckily, I was approached by Hairball just before Christmas of last year. And it's just been the most incredibly wonderful experience I've ever had, to be honest with you.
It's truly a family, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
So what would you consider was your first big break in music?
Big break kind of makes me think of money.
Well, yeah, but your success matters is different to everybody.
But really, no, honestly, I think a big break as far as like the dream of it all, I think was definitely I think the West Arkeen experience, only because I was such a huge Guns N' Roses fan, and just to be inside of some kind of circle that was hands-on, and that whole legendary movement was so very exciting. It was very short-lived. Unfortunately, West overdosed on some drugs. He died in the middle of our recording sessions. But again, that's another part. It just seems like the story of my life. One door slams in your face, and then another one opens. But I felt like that was kind of maybe the first real hint that like I was doing the right thing, and like I was born to do this kind of thing. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, it's got to feel very rewarding when you're gigging and you're playing in all these different bands, you're doing everything you can, and then to actually have someone that has some inside info and work with the industry looks at you and says, yeah, hey man, I want you to be a part of this.
Yeah, but honestly, like the first big break is probably this one, because
Really?
this one actually puts me in a position where I can be happy and stable,
Okay. Well, so let's talk a little bit about that, because for me, I've been around Hairball since its inception, so I probably view it differently than people who are not aware of it. So when you first heard of them or they first approached you, what was your first thoughts?
To be honest, it was like a cover band. I would never consider joining a cover band. In fact, I'm probably the guy that maybe makes jokes about some of my friends when they take cover gigs. But at the same time, I'm a hypocrite because I would show up every week I possibly could to these jam nights in LA. Like there was they call it the the one is the
The one with Izzy Presley?
The ultimate jam at the Whiskey, and then
Okay.
there's the other one with Izzy. Yeah, the one at Soundcheck Live, it's called.
Okay.
So between those two, it's great to get together with. You never know who you're going to jam with, and those were great experiences to just like on a weekly basis be jamming with the guys from Mammoth, or the guys from Avril Lavigne, or the guys from it's just any legendary artist could just pop in at any time, and before you know it, you're sharing the stage with these legendary guys. So and you do all of those things for free. And then to take a deeper look at the Hairball thing, all it took was a few hours before I was just completely freaked out, blown away, that somebody has taken this kind of a thing to another level. And now, to be honest, I'm completely offended now that I'm part of the family. When somebody says it's a cover band, it's like, why don't you just come to a show? Because it's not just a cover band. It's like a chunk of history being thrown in your face at the largest level possible to bring you back to that time and place, with all of us representing the heroes that we looked up to so much in the utmost respect, with the utmost respect.
Well, that's a great way to phrase it. Yeah, seriously, that's excellent. And so I want to sidetrack you for a moment. I'm going to ask this question to both of you, because you both have been in original bands. You both played with, successful musicians and all of that. Why is there such a problem with some of these original artists and things that you do, or cover bands in general? Because from my perspective, as someone who does not play an instrument, I know how hard it is to get up in front of people and do what you do. And just because you didn't write the song, you still have to have the talent to perform it, whether it be singing or playing or whatever. So how do both of you feel about that? Dave, start.
Oh, it doesn't bother me. My wallet don't care what they think. I have never cared. I'm crying all the way to the bank. I mean, it's just the truth of the matter. I think that they have a different perspective of it. And as a person who's, and I'm sure Patrick will agree, as a person that's done originals and done everything that he could do to try to, quote unquote, make it. I think that we put too much emphasis on that, especially in this day and age, because that's not really, it's not the same model as it was when we were growing up. It's very, very different. If you want to do originals, great. I support that 1,000,000%. If you want to do covers, great. I support that 1,000,000%. What is wrong with that? I just don't understand it. But I will tell you, I mean, one or the other, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I get joy out of both. So as long as it's making people happy, as long as people are enjoying what we do, I'm not going to explain myself to anybody. You look out at the thousands and thousands of people that we entertain on a weekly basis, not a yearly, a weekly basis. And how can you complain about that? Haters going to hate.
Yeah, I've never understood it. So Patrick, since you kind of lit the fire here, how has your perception changed, and what were you thinking before that?
Well, there's some perceptions that are still sticking with me, and then there's others that I'm letting go of.
Okay.
But not letting go of. See, like Dave and I just went and saw this what was the movie, buddy? The Unknown, about Bob Dylan.
Bob
right?
Dylan.
We went and saw that.
Wait, Unknown.
And my heart definitely lies in that dream, to see somebody that, all I've ever wanted was for my existence to have purpose, to affect people. And I want people to, feel something from me personally, from my experiences. Like, I felt like I was put on this planet to write and share my experience, because like I said, it's an unbelievable story. It would be a shame not to share that with the world. And I definitely think you could put a huge dollar amount on that, or at the same time you couldn't put a dollar amount on that. It's too huge. But at the same time, being in an original band and, I've gotten it so close. My band Butterside has had, every swing and punch and been in the ring with every big band that there is. Um, and, I still feel like we're inches away from getting that notoriety, that worldwide notoriety. So it's not something that I'm giving up on. Um, and I look at the whole hairball thing as, I mean, from an entertainer's perspective, from that standpoint, it's like, holy crap, I'm being challenged far beyond what I'm capable of. So, on a daily basis, not only am I completely challenging myself to remember everything I've had to learn, I'm also having to sing and perform in a way that I've never, ever thought of having to perform. So my voice is being challenged, my talent is being challenged, my memory is being challenged. And then on top of all of it, I've also valued myself as an actor. I've done a lot of acting. I've been on TV. I've done commercials. Um, and I was very passionate about that too. So it's kind of all of the dream jobs slammed into one because you have to go out there and you have to duplicate the mannerisms of every character you're playing. And then on top of all of it, I'm making, like Dave said, it's like the money is just stupid. So, and then it's like if you accidentally look behind you while we're performing, the production of this whole thing is far larger than most bands that are out there crushing it. What they consider crushing it fails in comparison to what we're doing.
I agree.
So on so many levels, it's like, you know, I've worked jobs waiting tables and bartending and stuff just to keep my musical career going. So the fact that I don't have to stress about doing anything else that I hate, doing something that I absolutely love is just such a blessing. And there's no reason I can't keep pursuing everything that I do original, because, the band is just completely supportive of that. And we're also talking about writing original music with this band, which would definitely scratch that itch.
Well, yeah,
And
and it's interesting the way you say that, which I can tell by just listening to you in that last segment that you're perfect for this band because you're a team player, you get it, you appreciate what it is, and you can still have what you want on the side as well.
and
Yeah.
at the
So,
end of the day, just to go a little further on that question, I just don't see why there isn't a reason why everybody, and again, it comes down to, you know, not everybody's going to like everything, but there should be support for everybody's art, and we do that in our band. We do support everybody, and we do support other bands, and we encourage and go out of our way to help other bands with either advice or opening slots or whatever we can do to help folks. So I just feel like that more people should be more supportive as opposed to the stereotypical they're a cover band kind of thing.
yeah,
So
and you get it, but it isn't as much anymore. And lots of times, like you said, haters gonna hate, and it's people online, and they may not even be fans of the band. The thing that I've always found very interesting, which has really changed, I think, over the last 8 years from me watching this happen, is how people now truly view you. And there's nothing wrong with this. This is a great thing. They truly view you in the same manner in which they view any other artist and I'd like to get both of your impressions. So, like, Patrick, I saw your first show, which is in Eau Claire. Dave, I can't remember where your first show was. I don't believe I saw it, but I'm not positive. What was each one of yours first impression when you got out in that stage and you realized how passionate these fans are?
Patrick,
Well, I was so stressed out. The first show I came into town with laryngitis, and Los Angeles, my hometown, was on fire. Okay,
literally.
so and maybe that was beneficial to me because it kept me distracted from the job at hand, which is most of the time is what you need. If you're overthinking it, you're gonna mess up. You know what I mean? If you just
Yeah.
let the whole thing go and just try to have a good time, the crowd is going to be very receptive to that. I was warned, but yeah, I wasn't ready for it. I think it wasn't until Fargo that like we were finally in a position backstage where I could hear the crowd, and I was like, "Holy crap!" It's just so loud. It's so loud, and uh, up until I think this last week, really, I'm just now starting to get a little bit more comfortable. My voice is finally back to where it needs to be, and like I finally feel like the guys are like, "Oh, he actually can sing," because up until now they were just kind of trusting me. I think they liked me enough to give me a chance, and I've just kind of just been trying to really, do the job as best I can. It's a lot. It's a lot. Not that but I guess what I'm trying to say is the first night, I think I was just so grateful that they were all working so hard to work with me, because I think I got through maybe 4 songs that first night.
Yeah.
And before the show, at sound check was the first point where we actually felt like I could sing. They came for rehearsal the night before, Thursday. Everybody showed up at Happy's place, and I was like, I can't talk, and we were actually prepared to not even have me come out on stage.
Just in case. I
And
remember talking with Michael about that.
yeah, and then it's just I start applying my vocal, warm-ups and stuff that I got. I was trained by the best vocal coach ever, and I just really leaned into those warm-ups. It took me about 2 hours before I could peep a note, and then my voice just kind of went into this space where I was like, "Oh, I can do this." And I think I probably could have taken on more songs, but I was grateful I only had to do 1 song each for 4 different characters.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. And yeah, it was just super exciting. You know what I mean? I've played with Sweet now for since 2019, and the crowd was 3 times the size of the biggest show we've ever done with them, and that's an original band. So
Right.
so it kicked ass. It was great.
Dave?
Oh, it was amazing. It's astounding how much the Hairball's a religion to some people. I mean, this is their escape.
Yeah.
And we treat it with the respect that it deserves, because not only do we love it, but we know how much the fans love it. And it's very important to us that we look out and pay proper respect to that. The first time that I saw it it was after COVID. So it was like things were just starting to come back. So it was in Fort Hayes, I believe is where it was.
Okay.
And I remember going out and just hearing the roar of what Patrick said, and I was like, wow. I mean, it's so much more than just a cover band of these people. This is where they get their fix of that time period, that time frame. So it's amazing to me how much it in its 25th year, it's only grown. It hasn't waned. It's grown every single year. And this is going into my 5th summer. And it's just amazing how many people love this product and love the guys and love the band and even the crew. I mean, everybody's just together on this. It's amazing. It's not, we're not separated from the fans. We're in it with the fans. We understand, we get it. And it's awesome, man. It's really cool.
Well, and what's really going to drive it home for you, Patrick, and I know you've probably heard this on the bus already, but wait till Duluth. That is the most insane thing I've ever seen in all of my years of going to concerts. It's literally that off the hook.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so I'd like to start with a couple of different questions that we have from fans, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time for a couple of things. Number one, if I butcher your name, my apologies. Number two, because we have Patrick and Dave on today, some of the questions that were asked in these feeds are maybe for one of the other members. So if I don't read your question today, it doesn't mean that we won't use it, but I am, before every episode, going to put up a post on Hairball's Facebook page saying, here's the guest this next show. What questions do you have? Okay, just so we're all on the same page. So the first one here comes from, this is an Instagram, and it looks like JD Meldy. Do you guys have any pre-show rituals?
Patrick?
Yeah, I bug the crap out of everybody with my warm-ups. I'm walking around for a good, depending on how hoarse my voice is. Dave and Chris are just, I am in awe of their talent because they just walk out there and they just start singing, and I just don't get it. I have had to work on my voice for so long. It takes me so long to get my voice conditioned and up to speed for a performance at night or even before sound check that I have, my ritual is just, I'm very serious about my warm-ups. I have to make sure that every note is, if I'm capable of every note before I start singing, and it's a lot of rolling my R's like these, and I'm right in their ears the whole time, and they're just so sweet. They just ignore me. They pretend they don't hear it. Um, yeah, so that's my ritual.
Okay, Dave.
The only thing that I do is I sing Rock and Roll White Noise Pollution at the top of my lungs just one time. Just it's kind of like the way I compare it is, you know how you get a new pair of boots and they're slick on the bottom, and if you try to walk in them, you're going to fall. I have to go scuff them up a bit, so I have some traction. That's my voice, so I have to. That's the song that I sing, and I do it once, and then I'm ready to go, and I say a little prayer and keep us all safe, and let's do a good job tonight, and that's about it.
Would you say that the getting into character as Uncle Gene is part of the ritual now too, even if it wasn't intended?
Yeah, I mean, I get there about 2 hours before, and I'm sitting in there usually in the trailer for about an hour by myself before anybody gets in there because it does take a minute to do it. I mean, I can do it quickly, but I like to take my time with it because it's just a process and it's very calming and relaxing to do. So I like to sit there and just fiddle about and mosey into the gene, if you will, and just kind of
Okay.
like get it all together. But I'll throw on some good tunes and sit there and just and listen to some music and do the gene makeup. But yeah, it's definitely become a ritual.
This next one is for Dave specifically, and it comes from Q-Tip's Adventure. Will there be more Motorhead in the set in the future?
We have talked about that, and all I can tell you is that I think that it would be very, very cool, and everybody else thinks it would be very, very cool to add more Motorhead. Yes.
Okay. Patrick, what's your favorite song to perform live? And this comes from Ryan S. Hayward, 2023.
Well, I would have to say the most surprising character so far would have been the Steve Perry character. I just, it just puts the crowd in a certain mood, and it's like, who hasn't dreamt of like how cool it would have been to be the writer of those songs when they first came out? I remember driving around and, oh, my buddy's Chrysler, we would drive up and all through the redwood trees, and Journey would come on, and we both just sing that stuff in the car at the top of our lungs, and I remember when Steve Perry quit, and then the other guy came in, and just thinking to myself, wow, that guy can sing like a god. And to be honest, coming into this thing, I just, my balls were bigger than my brain. I just was like, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. And I had no idea I could sing like that. And, even my brother was he was in Daytona for these shows, and he was like, yeah, you're going to sing Journey. And I walk out, and it seems like one of the much more comfortable voices. I just have a really good time. I just let go of myself. It's just Steve Perry's mannerisms too were very interactive with the crowd. So there's just this real connection through, I think, my genuine happiness and my genuine character can kind of melt with his. And then, of course, the coolest part about it is that at any point in the song, you can hold the microphone out to the crowd, and they won't miss a word. They're just dying to sing along with you. Um, the Guns N' Roses stuff is cool too, but I feel like it's not so much of a sing along. You know what I mean? So that's what
Right.
makes the Steve Perry character so much fun.
Dave.
I forgot the question. What's my favorite song?
To perform live. Yes.
What's my favorite song? I don't really have one. It can go from I mean, they're all just so cool because I'm the caveman, I'm the guy that makes everybody Neanderthals in a moment, So it all of them just have these huge energies that you can't. I mean, you just can't put your hand on. I mean, of course, the AC/DC is always great, and coming out as Gene and doing all that stuff's always great. And Alice is just, I'm like Patrick. I'm just a nice guy, and to get that to go out and sing "No More Mr. Nice Guy" and actually be mean, I have to be mean. So it's fun. It's fun.
Good.
So it's hard to pick anything that I do and go, man, that's the coolest part. I love them all.
Perfect. All right. So one of your top fans, Frank Comet, has a question for Dave and Patrick. How were each of you chosen for Hairball? And explain what the process was. Because we kind of covered a little bit with you, Patrick, but if you can give us a little more detail on how they approached you and the process. And then Dave, I want you to say as well.
What I understand is a mutual friend of Chainsaws recommended me, and I got a call, and I talked to Mike in length, and he explained how it's not a cover band and it's a really good opportunity. And I think we agreed on a flight out. I think I was already out. I was touring with Sweet. And it was like literally a week in between shows, and I was actually kind of in the neighborhood. Oh, wait, no, that's not true. I'd flown out to Indianapolis to do a Christmas show for my friend, and they had this art gallery. And so I was singing about, like, I think a 3-hour set of covers and Christmas songs the night before. And then I was so close to Minneapolis that I flew to Minneapolis the following morning. We had an audition. We auditioned in the Ground Shaker rehearsal room, which, in all intents and purposes, no offense, but it wasn't that impressive, and it did not clue me into it being a cool gig. So I definitely had my hopes weren't up.
Right.
I was kind of like, ooh, what are these? Like, what is this? And honestly, I was in the room for the audition, and Mike started talking about his history a little bit, and then he kind of gave me a bit of an insult. He was like, somebody didn't do their homework, because I just didn't know anything about these guys, and I was too busy. I mean, I honestly, I apologize to all of them at this point that I didn't find the time. I was just so damn busy. I couldn't do anything but focus on learning whatever it was. I mean, the set list was like 60 songs or something for the night before. So that's all I could think about. And I was like, okay, and then I'm going to go sing these other, I think we had 8 songs picked for the audition. I had to learn all of those words. And so I walk in and I'm in my iPad trying to read the lyrics. And it was just a nerve-wracking week. So I think I offended them by not knowing exactly what I was getting into. So walking out of the whole thing, I was kind of like, well, whatever. And it wasn't until really Dave gave me a call. Dave and Chainsaw both caught me on a call. I was walking on the beach in St. Augustine. I'm actually here now. I was out with my
Nice.
mom. And Dave just really broke it down for me. We connected on our sobriety that we share. We're both sober. We're both fighting the good fight. And to be honest, that was pretty much probably the really big crack in the sky. I was just like, well, if this guy digs it and he's kind of in the same place I am, I think maybe I should give this a shot.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, I don't think I made any other big decisions until after I got out there. But that's how the process kind of went down. And then the rest of the story from the first show on, I think.
Yeah, and it's such a small world. I just have to bring this up too, because you guys, congratulations, both of you, on your sobriety, because I know that that's difficult. But Patrick, tell everybody who your sponsor is.
Do I use his real name? I think
No.
everybody knows him as Michael Starr from Steel Panther.
There's just
but
nothing
I have,
awesome about that.
I do have to say, I've taken on quite a few sponsees myself
Yeah.
in 19 years. You know what I mean? You come across a lot of people you're trying to help out. And
Yeah.
I have to admit, I think if you asked him like who his sponsees are, I don't even know if he would bring me up, because I call him I think I've actually checked in on him maybe 3 or 4 times, and then those are like hour-long conversations because either it was a breakup or something that's I have to be going through some serious shit to be.
Right.
I hope I'm allowed to say the S word.
Yes, you can say anything you want.
But yeah, I'm just a really low maintenance guy. I'm one of these guys that got kicked in the head. It's some people say it was a touched by God moment. Well, I was kicked in the face by God, and it's basically like he knocked me out. And my unconsciousness is actually this new world I live in, and I'm just so grateful to be here. It's never really been about like, oh no, I'm going to use, but I think it was just like, wow, I would experience some depression that I never thought I would experience once you've
Right.
gotten clean and gotten rid of the BS in your life. But he's been there for me, man, and he's so inspiring.
Oh, he's a wonderful human being.
Yeah, he was also single-handedly responsible for getting me the gig with Steven Adler. Steven Adler
Oh,
couldn't get
nice.
it. Yeah, we'd done the auditions. Adler's whole group came out to a show. My band Aces and Eights at the time was opening for Steel Panther. And Steven was just, he had Axl Rose as a singer. So, he probably was just contemplating other people or thinking there might be something better. And there probably was. But when I walked into the room and Michael was in there with all of the guys, with Russ and the whole band, um, Steven was standing there with Chips Enough from Enough's Enough. And I walked into that backstage room and Michael Starr just yelled at the top of the lungs, "Are you fucking stupid? This is your guy." And Steven went, "All right, rehearsals start on Tuesday."
Well, and it's so funny too, because the last time I saw them, they were here in town and we were sitting backstage talking, and we were just like having a really nice conversation. And then Styx is like, "This is awesome. I don't understand why guys can't just get together like this and just talk about their feelings."
Yeah.
That's Steel Panther,
I mean, it's the only way to keep it together nowadays. I mean, look at all of our heroes that, that continued down that dark path that we
Oh
all
gosh,
thought
yes.
looked so glamorous. They're gone. They're either gone mentally or they're dead,
Yep, that's true. Dave, I think I know the process, but because this is a new podcast, there's a ton of people who don't. What was your process?
I was in a band called Thunderstruck, and we were touring, much like Hairball is. And I got a phone call from Chainsaw, much like he did. And he made me aware of Hairball. But the thing about the difference between he and I is actually knew who Hairball was because I was chasing them. I was like, man, how are they doing that? How are they doing what they're doing and making a killer living at it? And so I was kind of using their model for progress for my project. And their raspy voice singer Bobby had left, and they needed somebody to come in and do those voices. And they asked me, if I'd be interested, and I said, sir. So we got together and we got in the same room. And we tried a few different things, some things that were my style, some things that weren't my style. Because by and large, I was just an AC/DC guy, but there was stuff there that I could do that made sense, that would transfer with that kind of voice. So we tried those things and it went really, really well. And we got along great. I mean, it was awesome. Just a lot of mutual respect. And, because I remember asking them a bunch of funny questions and them giving me some pretty funny answers, as they still do. And about Shane and I left, and probably about 30 minutes later, I got the offer to take the gig. And then
How long? How many minutes?
It was probably about 30 minutes, probably 30, 45 minutes. Yeah.
Damn. Took them 3 weeks with me.
Well, they were desperate with me.
2 weeks. Right.
So we're I had to wait a couple weeks because I wanted to make sure that my guys in Thunderstruck were okay, because that's a hard thing. I know that'll leave somebody in the lurch, and I don't want anybody to lose their jobs. And there were so many people in my organization that was depending on money and work, and we had so many shows booked and a huge summer coming up, and I just wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. So I had to really think it through, because I just don't like to hurt other people.
Same.
But at the same time, it was one of those things where, I've always been of the mindset, for anybody, if they've got a great offer, if they've got something that they can get that's going to better their life, then I'm definitely going to kick you off the bus and you're not welcome here. Go ahead and leave. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to hold you back from doing what you want to do. And the band, I had told the band that a million times, and they actually said the same thing to me. They go, Dave, you have to take this. You have to take this job. So I did. We found them a replacement. They're doing fine, and everybody won. So that was a great thing. And man, I can't imagine being anywhere else. I'm just literally with Tommy. Will tell you, Patrick. Once you get in deeper with this, you'll find so many great friends like Tommy and his wife Cheryl, and so many people in this organization have friends and family, and it really is a big family, and it extends to the fans as well. So it's really, really cool.
Awesome. Patrick, this next one's directed specifically to you, but it's a bit of a statement at first. Terry Hoover writes, I want to start by saying I love all you guys. Your shows are freaking awesome. My question is for Patrick. I think you're doing an awesome job with Hairball. You definitely have the personality and the talent for this venture. I absolutely loved you with the Suite, and wondering if you'll be doing any other shows with them in the future.
So we were hoping, I don't know if I'm actually technically allowed to come forward with this, but you're getting a little bit of exclusive information here. I won't announce who it is that's replacing me, but I was trying so hard. I had high hopes that we could somehow manage both, because I've done so much I feel like I brought Sweet to it's, first of all, it's a very, very, very heavy lifting experience to bring a band back from being as famous as Sweet is, the legendary Sweet from the 60s and 70s. And then, without any living members in the band, living original members in the band, it was something that I kind of looked at again, like I love a challenge. And it was like we're trying to resurrect something. It's basically Jesus's second coming is what it kind of feels like. And you know what? I feel like we were well on that path. I feel like the band really has a chance to be that band that every media outlet would talk about, like, wow, like, can you believe that this band has done this? Because we started writing music together. We started releasing music. We just put out a track. What was it? And first week of February, we dropped a brand new track that we wrote, and I couldn't have been more proud of the track. But they do have a handful of dates, and they need a singer. And I've joined this group, and I know that they've put in an unbelievable amount of money goes into the costumes and the wigs and everything else. And it's like, I'm a very fair person, and I had to kind of tell them that it's just, again, like Dave said, you hope that your peers will support you when something better comes along.
Right.
And I'm not gonna. I was like family with Sweet too. I am still, and I hope to be forever. They are the sweetest, most wonderful people on the planet, and I love them to death. I absolutely love spending time with them. I love making music with them. But from a stability standpoint, it's like you've got to be realistic and compare the amount of shows that they're doing per year to the amount of shows that this band's doing per year. So I finally had to kind of, I just kind of stopped really leading them on, and then I was really happy to hear, I had a talk with management day before yesterday, and they let me know that they are flirting with somebody. And it turned into a conversation about how excited I would be if they got that guy, because if you ask me, he's got a better voice than I do. And he's just a freaking great guy. So I think they're going to be in great hands. So I think I'm feeling a little bit like Dave did with Thunderstruck.
Yeah. And,
I'm just happy to be so busy and so comfortable and surrounded by so many loving people. And, so Sweet is now moving forward. They've already done, I think, 3 or 4 dates with one singer, but they're considering bringing on another. So I'm very exciting for them, but I don't. If they need me to fill in and it works out, great. If not, I think they're in really good hands with the guy that they're going forward with.
Sounds great. Well, there you go. So thank you for the question. Dave, this one I'm going to ask directly to you. Tanis Brakel Enyos would like to know, are there any characters that you would like to add that you have not done yet?
I'm not, with me, it's kind of difficult because, like I said, I'm the Neanderthal. I'm not, I'm not Patrick who can sing Journey or Chris who can do Prince. I'm Gene Simmons and Brian Johnson and Kevin Dubrow and Blackie Lawless and things of that nature. But I guess we had talked about doing Udo from Accept. That would be cool because I could nail that. But it would be kind of like dwarf golf. Because I have to go out there in a little camo outfit and the big shoes and just kind of move my body, because I'm like two of Udo. But not really. I think I'm scratching all the itches that I've got, and the ones that I can't, the other guys are doing just fine at.
Well, and there's room for change, and that's what they're working on. So not only are they constantly working on changing the set list of you still playing the artists that you love, but changing the songs around.
The songs. Absolutely.
But you're always looking to add different characters. But the hard part, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that certain bands have certain characters that are just considerably more recognizable, not good or bad, but like anyone that looks at Dee Snider knows that's Twisted Sister. Okay.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that could look at Janie Lane and not know it's Warrant. And that's nothing to take away from Janie Lane or Warrant, but there's not something so distinct about him compared to maybe some of the different characters you guys do.
You nailed it. You nailed it 100%. There's bands that we all love from the 80s that we would love to do. I mean, Bang Tango is a great band, but nobody knows Bang Tango. Right. Not an identifiable look. The Bullet Boys are a great band. Not an identifiable character, not an identifiable look. And when you walk up there, you want the biggest hits with the biggest visual that you can absolutely give these people. And you want to cover the most ground and the most space in that moment whenever they're out there on the stage. That don't mean that there can't be nuggets. That don't mean that there can't be moments that you put stuff in there that's going to be, oh man, that's really, really cool. Or that's very identifiable, or not as identifiable, but that's really, really cool. The idea is to please the most people, as you possibly can, while keeping it fresh as you possibly can. And not alienating anybody. You don't want anybody to, when I go out there as Lemmy, there's a lot of people either don't know who Lemmy is, but they know Ace of Spades, or know who Lemmy is and don't know Ace of Spades, because they know either the image or the song, or some of them know both. But either way, it goes over great, because he just works. But you don't want to push it too much further than that, because it's got to be identifiable and it's got to have a big hit.
And that's the problem that maybe some fans don't understand is, okay, let's say you grew up in the same time frame that we did and you loved the 80s hair metal and all the stuff that Hairball is doing. There's also a percentage of people who come to the show that are considerably younger, maybe older, or maybe they aren't so much hair metal fans, but they're just fans of rock. They may not know who Motorhead is. I know that seems insane to some of you. Okay. But there is truth to that, in the same manner in which I made the assumption, and wrongfully so, that everybody on the planet knows who Cheap Trick is. Right. I can't tell you how many times they have performed Cheap Trick in the past where I'm standing out in the audience, and even though it says Cheap Trick on the screen, people are like, who is this?
Yeah.
No clue.
Right.
So there's always that piece that you guys have, that give and take of playing what you love, but also playing something that everybody knows.
The biggest of the big. That's what you want. You want people to be entertained in the best way possible, and that's through visual and through song. So, and that's our job. So that's what we go out there to do. And just to backtrack a little bit, you'd asked me what character I'd want to add, and I have talked to them, and I just remembered this. I would love, and I think it would work perfectly, especially with how tall I am, would be to do some Ramones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and do Joey Ramone.
That would
And
be very
and
cool.
go out there and be Joey Ramone. I think that
Oh,
that
yeah.
would be fantastic
I
because there's,
love that idea.
you
Yeah,
know,
and then when it comes to those characters like the Ramones and Motorhead, I feel like we're doing our. I think it's our job in this position to introduce, because you need to be introduced to that. If you're watching Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses, you need to know that there would be no Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses if it wasn't for Lemmy.
sure.
You need to know that there wouldn't be uh you know any of it without the Ramones, I think as a fan I look at that as like, we pulled out Rush, because we did 6 songs in a row, and the band pulled out Rush, and to hear how loud they screamed when they did this thing that's so far off the beaten path for us. I think that's part of like the only way I can compare it is like, okay, I'm a Star Wars freak. I love going to Disneyland, and my favorite ride at Disneyland is this thing where you get on the ship and you never know which. There's different scenes. Like it's never the same ride twice.
Oh, cool.
And I think that the hairball thing is kind of that way. Like you come in and you're expecting a certain amount of nostalgia, but at the same time, you are probably going to be surprised by at least one thing in the night. Like, whoa, I forgot that again. Look at how good they did it, and it's just like mind blowing when you throw them that curveball, and to see their reaction. Like, oh, I thought I was going to get one thing, and the surprises are just so much of the show. You never know what you're going to get. There might be a different colored egg in the basket any night of the week.
Mhm.
That's great. That's a great way to say it. Colleen Desiato gave me 3 great questions, but in all fairness to everybody, I'm only going to ask you one. Take us on the smelly tour bus that you guys drive around in. What's your favorite way to pass the time when you're traveling on that stinkmobile?
It varies from
Stinkmobile.
person. It varies from person to person. But
Slimy mud hole. My
yeah,
home this is.
you're insulting my home.
No, I just have been on there in the middle of summer after you guys have been.
No,
Yeah.
it is. It's there's some days when you're driving. Like when we came home from Canada, that was a 25-hour drive.
Mhm.
So the bunk is your friend, and you utilize it correctly. You got 12 people on the bus. You want to be respectful of everybody's space and time, and and you just want to be respectful. That's I think that's the key word in those instances, is the respectful portion of it. And it's just kind of a, I don't know, man. It's just a chill place. If your bunk is your sanctuary, that's all I
So
can say.
for people who've never been on a tour bus before, walk them through the tour bus. Okay. Tell them what's inside.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Well, I'm going to say I haven't been on the bus yet in the summer, but I've been on tour buses in the summer. I've never been on a smelly tour bus. Maybe I'm just really lucky. Our bus smells like pizza in the evenings, and it smells like perfume in the mornings,
Maybe
because
the smell is gone. The smelly guy's gone. I don't know.
maybe that's what it is. I haven't had any problem with anyone's hygiene. We've got 2 girls on the crew that are just phenomenal and talented, and so I think they bring up a level of kind of like, you got to keep your smells to yourself, kind of a thing. Not to say
That's
that there
fine.
isn't some, not to say that there isn't some disgusting behavior on the
Yes.
bus, but you walk on, and to your left there's a huge lounge. There's 2 tables to eat at. There's a pizza oven. There's a microwave oven. There's two refrigerators on the bus. It's probably the most comfortable touring situation I've ever had. I have this memory foam mattress in my bunk, and it's like the vampire situation I've always wanted, because I just crawl in that thing, and it's like my teeth go back into my mouth and my sleep comes on, and the bus doesn't move me at all. It's a very comfortable sleep. But again, the bus, your home is where the heart is, and my heart is with all of the guys on the bus. So, um, I love getting into the conversations that we get in, so I don't feel like I need to stay in my bunk. I like being out of my bunk, and every conversation I get in with whoever the hell's on the bus and wants to talk is a beautiful conversation so far. So it's great. There is a lounge in the back. We use that a lot for like changing and some of our extra bags, but there might be a new bus coming. and
Yeah.
it looks bigger, brighter, and more beautiful than this one. This one's got a lot of character, for sure. But yeah, no bad smells, no bad vibes.
Well, so there's a front section when you get on the bus, and people can sit there. There's a table, and that's kind of where their kitchenette is. And
Yeah.
then they have bunks. It looks just like train. You know, if you're riding on a passenger train that has sleeping bunks, and then behind that is the back lounge that you were saying.
Yeah, it's like a disco too. Like we have all of these cool little neon lights in there. It's we could switch the lights to match the vibe, how we're all feeling. Um, there's a TV and there's a DVD player, and we've got like I don't know thousands of movies to pick from. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Good. Bella Smith would like to know, what would your careers be if you could not be a rock star?
Do you want fries with that? We'd be asking if you want fries with that.
Yeah,
Not
buffalo
as-
or barbecue.
Not that there's anything wrong with any of that.
Um, yeah, it wouldn't be this life if you ask me. It's just Dave's absolutely right. I mean, until you're fed up and determined not to have any other life, you're never going to achieve this life. It's not until you completely really like you believe in yourself, and then you set your window, you open your windows to it, and you've got to jump through that damn window, because there is no other life for us. There isn't one, and it's do or die, and that's where we're at.
And that's why you get the show that you get. All right, we've been about an hour now. I'm going to do one last question and leave on this note for both of you. Tracy Lyons wants to know, who is your absolute, and you have to pick one, I don't care. All right. Who is your absolute favorite band?
Dave?
Man, I got such a big palette. If there's a gun to my head, it's AC/DC.
Okay. Patrick?
Dead Sarah.
There you go. Okay. So anything else you guys want to go over before we call this a day?
I would like to point out that I'm very jealous that Tanis asked Dave a question and not me, because Tanis is my number one favorite fan on the planet, and she's been to all the Butterside shows, and she shows up dressed up like I dress in my videos, and to see that she's got more of a crush on Dave and not me is a little bit of a heartbreaker. So
Well,
just a shout out to it just goes to show how great these fans are, because you think you're jealous of us, we're jealous of you. We love you.
We just want everybody to know that we're thankful for all of them, and I like to tell that to everybody that comes to the show. Thank you for coming out and watch 50-year-old men in spandex and lipstick and high heels, man. We cannot thank you enough. We are so incredibly grateful for what we do. I hope it comes across that way, because as I said a moment ago, we literally would be asking if you want fries with that. And thank you for not making us do that.
well, and you guys have added a lot of shows. You have a very, very busy calendar this year, as every year. So go to hairballonline.com and you can check out tours there, and you can find out where to get tickets. Be very careful, guys, in lots of situations for several different things. Number one, there's a lot of fake profiles out on Facebook and different places. So make sure that you know who you're friending or following. None of these gentlemen will ever ask any money from you. None of them will ever privately message you. None of that will happen. Okay. So please be very careful. And if you see a fake profile out there, please let us know. Send us a note so that we can deal with it. Other than that, ticket wise too, be careful when you go online looking for tickets. There's an awful lot of second and third party ticket people that'll always push themselves to the top of the search. So make sure that when you're purchasing tickets, you're purchasing from the right places. So we want to keep you safe. We don't want to see you get ripped off, and we certainly don't want to see you pay for something like a meet and greet and you bought a fake one. So again, everything goes through Hairball Online. They would love to see you guys out. Their meet and greet packages are available for almost, I think, every single show. And you get to get a photo with the band. You get to talk to them. They'll sign stuff for you. It's a really nice meet and greet, and it's before the show. So please take a look at that, and they would love to meet you out on the road as well. Any parting words, gentlemen?
I'm not to contradict anything you just said, definitely would never ask for any money, but I am so open to talking to all of our fans. I message with them all day long from
Perfect.
my personal account on Instagram. So don't be afraid to reach out. I love hearing from you. It's, so far I'm not completely overwhelmed. I love to take time, and I'm an advocate for mental health too. If people are suffering from things, I'm so grateful that I have a stable mind and stable heart that, I'm not afraid to get down and dirty with our fans and talk. So feel free to reach out to us.
And I'm glad that you clarified that. I guess my point more was there's been so many scams online where people are taking things private. So just make sure, Patrick, what is the correct place to hook up with you?
Correct. And
Instagram?
Yeah, it's my Petrix 23 account. PTRIX 23 is I'm always there.
Okay, Dave.
Mine's just Dave Moody. You can find me easily, and send me a friend request, man. I'm all about. I'm like Patrick. I talk to everybody, and I'm accessible. So I'm just thankful for all of it. So yeah.
Please comment and share all of our posts every chance you get. You know what I mean? We're trying to get this thing to. I mean, if there is a higher level, we are still trying to get there. So, we appreciate all of the feedback and comments and interaction. So hit us up.
You heard it right from their mouths, guys. Everyone follow up with them and speak to them online. They want to talk to you. And with that, we're going to close out episode number 2. Thank you both so much for joining today. I hope all of you listening and watching have a wonderful week. Thank you for the support. And just so you know, we at least at this point, we're thinking about doing this every other week. It's always going to premiere on a Sunday night at 7 p.m. So I usually, a day or two before the next recording, I will always post something up on Hairball on Facebook for you to leave your questions. We'll look at Instagram as well, but it's a little bit harder. So if you can, please ask the questions on Facebook. It's easier to track, and I want to get everybody included.
Thank you, Tommy, for doing
thank
this.
you, Tommy. You're the best,
Thank
man.
you.
So
Thank
cool.
you.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week, everybody.
All right.
See you next time.